Julia Roberts stars as Erin Brockovich in the movie Erin Brockovich, based upon a true story. She is a single mother of three, divorced and living nearby the town of Hinckley, California. One day, while looking for a job, she got into a car accident where she then had to be represented by the law firm Marcy's and Vertito. She was granted a small compensation from the accident. However, she needed to find a job, and with minimal options, she began to show up at the law firm that had helped her and asked for work. Eventually, the law firm hired her and gave her secretary work. While looking through files, she had noticed blood samples in the file of a house sale. She began to investigate the situation and then began to visit the people of these files. After some time in investigations, she noticed that there were many families in an area surrounding the PG&E company that were experiencing odd illnesses. PG&E had also thrown out a red flag by trying to buy these people's houses, and Erin wanted to find out why. However, she had to do the investigations herself and present all her findings to the head of the law firm to see the issue taken further. After collecting samples and files, she continued to work with the community and get everyone in the area involved so that they could seek justice. Fighting a $1 billion company was a task in its own. She had to have everyone conform and stand up for what was going on. During all of this, her children were being watched by Bob, her neighbor, who had sparked an interest in her. Erin, however, knew that she had to do for the community and went on to conform with her law firm and a much larger one to take down the gas company and make them fix what they had done to the townspeople. In her research, Erin had found there was chromium 6 in the water, which the company had told residents it was chromium 3, which is supplemental to human beings. However, that came to be a lie, and Erin made sure that the people of Hinckley, California, would seek justice for what had happened to them and their families. In the end, Erin and the law firms had won the dispute, and the people of Hinckley were awarded $333 million. When researching the real Erin Brockovich, the movie's portrayal was pretty accurate. She was a single mother who had moved to the area and gotten into a car accident where the law firm Marcy's and Fertito represented her. However, the attorney felt sorry for her after her small settlement and offered her a clerical job instead of her demanding one. She truly was a consumer advocate and environmental activist, though. One day, while filing documents for the real estate case involving the utility giant PG&E, Brockovich noticed that the paperwork included blood samples. Her suspicions aroused. She asked for permission to look into the matter further. With subsequent visits to California town of Hinckley, Brockovich eventually uncovered evidence linking a rash of illnesses there to high levels of chromium found in the drinking water. When the pollution was eventually tracked back to the PG&E compressor station in Hinckley, more than 600 of the town's residents hired Massery and Vertito's law firm to represent them. After information surfaced during the trial that suggested PG&E was aware of and tried to cover up the pollution, the case was settled for $333 million, the largest in United States history for a case of its kind. While looking for actual research about Miss Brockovich, I came across some interesting stuff. There is a study done by a Dr. Alex Barivo who found out that everything she did was a lie. It never was true. She used a common rhetorical trick known as the Texas sharpshooter fallacy to claim that a cluster of cancer and other diseases in a small town was the result of groundwater contamination by chromium. There were multiple problems with the argument. First, a cluster of cases is not necessarily indicative of anything. By sheer chance alone, patients with particular diseases, even rare ones, can occasionally be found in close proximity to one another. Second, an epidemiological survey found no extra cases of cancer in Hinckley that would normally be expected. Third, while inhaled chromium 6 is linked to lung cancer, there is no evidence that ingesting tiny amounts of chromium 6 is harmful. Fourth, Ms. Brockovich's case did not make biomedical sense because she not only blamed chromium 6 for causing cancer, but a myriad of unrelated conditions. Brockovich was correct that chromium 6 was used in the PG&E plant as a corrosion inhibitor and that some of the substance was irresponsibly released into the groundwater. She's also correct that the groundwater levels of chromium 6 in Hinckley were elevated, but the elevation was not large and the amounts involved would be rendered harmless by chemicals in tap water, certain foods, and several chemical reactions that take place within the body. Brockovich's lawsuit attempted to link a much wider spectrum of alignments in the area with the presence of chromium 6 in drinking water, whether it was a miscarriage, a rash, bone deterioration, Crohn's disease, lupus, or some sort of cancer. Brockovich points the finger at chromium 6. In all probability, she is wrong. Single toxins do not cause such a wide array of conditions, but when illness strikes, people are ready to pounce on convenient villains, particularly when there is potential for a large settlement. In December of 1987, PG&E determined that there were 10 wells that were serving 14 families contaminated with chromium 6 levels, only slightly above the U.S. Department of Environmental Protection's drinking water standards. In response, the company provided bottled drinking water and offered a free medical evaluation to these families. The medical evaluators found no consistent medical history responses, physical examination findings, or laboratory test results, which was suggested that the exposed individual has sustained health effects from the chromium exposure.